Hey now, bosses. Happy Thursday and happy November 1st. Happy November. I'm super excited for this brand new month, and I hope you are too. Yes, guys, we're down to the wire. We're down to the last 2 months of the year. There's still a lot you can do in this year, so don't count yourself yet. If you're new to me, hey guys, my name is G Nantra with Write and Prosper, and on this channel I give you tips, strategies, and resources on how you can make a living with your writing. So if that sounds like your cup of tea, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and also make sure to hit the bell beside the subscribe button so that every time I put out a new video you get a notification. Okay, so today I wanted to we've been doing these Thursday live for the last 3 weeks, and I'm loving it because it means it's one less me going to set up my video setup so I can do I can do these videos. All right. I love doing live videos. I loved doing it when Periscope first came out. I love doing Facebook Live. I just don't have enough time to do them, but I'm committing, I committed to doing this every Thursday morning on this channel. And today I wanted to tackle a few questions that I've had one subscriber asked me over the last week, plus talk to you a little bit about becoming more productive in your freelance writing business, or even as somebody that works from home, like how to be productive. Sometimes when you start out a side hustle, it can be hard to imagine that you would even have time to do the work that you need to get done, but it is possible. I'm living proof of that. It is possible for you to get work done even if you don't have a bunch of time. You just have to be super strategic about it. So I first wanted to answer a question, and I'm probably going to navigate away from this a little bit because I wanted to answer a question that Alan had asked me. There was one you sent me last week, and there was one that you put in the comments on my video on how to make your clients fall in love with you. So I wanted to go ahead and answer that question. And so let me pull that up. I'll just pull that up, and then we are going to answer it. Okay, I probably will grab my phone so I can answer it. There we go. All right, let's get back to this. All right, great. So the question that Alan had asked was, it's a quote that I've seen a lot myself. And actually, very interestingly, I went and looked for it. So I went to find the origin because I think it used to be attributed to one of these writers. I forget exactly who it was. It had been attributed to, but some famous person had said it. And a lot of people tend to quote it. And it says, Yes, it says a good copywriter just writes copy, and a great copywriter steals and reverse engineers copy. Is this valid? And I wanted to answer that question because it's important to be careful about platitudes, and this is definitely one of those platitudes. I think that it's in some ways it's true, but you have to be careful also how you interpret it, because sometimes some people take that literally to mean I need to go steal somebody's content. That if somebody's content is doing well, I need to steal their content. I need to go steal and people have done that. People have replicated people's websites verbatim. All right, because that person is doing well. I remember there was a blogger who somebody wrote to her and told her that they had copied everything that she was doing on her website, including the type of content that she had written, including some of them were the exact wording of the content that she had written. And they wrote to her to tell her about it. I guess they thought that, that was flattery, but it wasn't, because people work hard to put stuff out there. People work hard to write content. People work hard to create art. So for you to just poach it off as your own, totally wrong. Please do not do that. I see a lot. Once in a while, I'll see somebody who will just copy somebody's blog post verbatim and put it on their blog. Please don't do that. Now, something that you have to learn with copywriting, when you're writing copy, right? And copywriting is any piece of writing that convinces people to buy or convinces people to take a specific action, right? So when you are writing copy, it's important for you to know who your audience is. So just because something is working for, or a piece of copy is working for another writer, doesn't mean it's going to work for you, because you may be serving two different audiences. Instead, it's important for you to get to know your audience, get to know what they want, get to know their fears, get to know their, what they want, their desires, their fears, what they love, what they hate, what they're passionate about, what they're not passionate about, what they would like to see. And so it's important to know who your audience is so that you write content that's tailored to them. So for instance, as a female, most of the people that follow me online are women. So when I'm writing, and a section of those women are mothers, because I'm a mother too. So when I'm writing copy to these people, it's going to be completely different from if I was like a single person, or like if most of my audience were single people with no children who are in Gen Z. Okay, completely different audience. I'm 35. And so I'm considered like the cusp of being a millennial or Gen Y, whatever they call it. But let's say Gen Y, right? Is it Gen Y? Something like this. But the way I'm going to write to those people, completely different language from how I'm going to write to Gen Z, the people that are just in college right now. Completely different. So it's important for you to know your audience. So even if you see that somebody has copy that is excellent, I don't think you copy it verbatim. I think you look at the structure and the rules of copywriting that the person has utilized, right? The rules, and then apply that to your own copy. So in that sense, yes, you would be stealing their method, but don't steal the actual content, because your audiences may be very, very different. All right. And this is true for just anything that you're doing. You have to define what who you are, who your audience is, and what you want them to get and what you want to communicate with them. And that may be completely different from somebody else who is writing to a completely different audience, or who has been, and also like somebody else that may have been building their business for 15, 20 years. Somebody like Ramit Sethi has great copy, right? Amazing copy when he writes his emails. But he's also been building his business for the last 15 or so years, probably even more than that. All right, that's going to be completely different from how you, who is starting today, is going to write, because maybe you don't know your audience just yet, and you haven't sent them enough surveys, and you haven't talked to them enough, and you haven't had conferences, and you haven't written as many books. Do you understand? So yes, I am a believer in emulation and emulating people's methods. I'm a big believer in that. So that's why I've emulated a lot of people in my own, even doing videos here on YouTube. But I don't steal their content. I don't go and say, okay, because this person is doing beauty videos, let me also do beauty videos, even though my audience is not here for beauty. So I think that we should be careful with that particular platitude and that statement, that I think that it's good to emulate. I don't think it's good to just poach off people's content. I hope that helps. All right. Then another question that Alan had also asked, which I wanted to answer, was something that I think you sent me via Facebook. And in essence, you were asking if the content that I share here on my channel, if that was something that could apply to people that live in Africa, or if it was only for people that live in the US, or maybe in places that are considered more developed. And I would say that no. So a lot of people, I've had that question, people ask me that question, and I always say no. Now, there are big differences, of course, right? So maybe where you are, and I know because my family lives in Ghana, so I know that not everybody has high-speed internet connection at home. right? It's something that, or even if they do, it's something that you have to pay into. You have to have the money to pay for it. So I completely understand that aspect of it. I know that sometimes people have to, even to do that, that means people have to have data packages and so on and so forth to be able to work from their homes. But I've also learned, and also from just chatting with people, that there are people on the African continent who are doing exactly what I'm doing and succeeding. There are not a lot of them, but there are people in Ghana, in Nigeria, in Kenya, in a lot of other countries where people who have been, connected to this world for a while are beginning to do this. Even I know that there are a lot of large YouTubers out of Africa right now. So it is not, definitely there are challenges to overcome, but it's not impossible to start a successful freelance writing business from Africa. The principles that I share, even though most of them are geared towards people that might live in the US or Canada or the UK, Australia, or other places like that, they are principles, and principles are principles. Principles work whether you live in Africa or you live in Europe or you live in America, And so I want you to be able to take what I say and find what is applicable in your situation, right? Maybe for your purposes, you may need to buy a data package that allows you to work 3 or 4 days out of the week, because that's what you can afford. And so on those days, you concentrate your work and then get that stuff done. All right, because you definitely need an internet connection to be able to create an account on places like Upwork or Fiverr or wherever you may start to get some work. You need an online presence to maybe get on LinkedIn and on Facebook and other places so that you can network and get this work. But I think that once you cross that internet hurdle, nothing really is standing in your way, to be honest with you. I think because I haven't, so that's why I say I haven't freelanced on African content, because I have family that lives in Ghana in West Africa. I know that it's possible to have internet in your house. I know. I also know that another challenge too is like with power, right? So in a lot of for those of my American friends who don't know, in a lot of African countries, sometimes power is not always on. Power is not always electricity is not always constant. There may be periods where you don't have power. And sometimes that could last from a few hours to even a day or more. All right. So that also throws in a lot of inconvenience. But I think that the power aspect and then the internet aspect, if you're able to overcome them and work around them, that it's possible. And to be honest, regardless of where you live, you're going to face challenges, right? Regardless of where there are challenges. Like for me, my biggest challenge is like having a little one and sometimes not being able to finish my work. And that is, it's what it is. I have to work around the fact that I have a little one. If I'm always making excuses that, because I have a little one, I'm so tired, I can't get work done, nothing will ever get done. So you always have to think beyond the excuses, think beyond the obstacles, think beyond the barriers so that you can get stuff done. So Alan, I hope that answers your question. I do believe I have seen people, and now I'm learning of other freelancers who live in African countries. So I know that this is completely possible. I realize that there are obstacles to overcome, but I think that no matter where you live and where you are in life, there will always be obstacles to overcome. You just have to have this mindset that you're going to overcome whatever obstacle comes your way. And if you have that mindset, you can succeed at anything. All right. Okay, great. So, wow, we're already 14 minutes into this. This is awesome. So, okay. So let me talk a little bit about productivity. And I probably will do like a recorded video on this, but I want to talk about productivity because for a lot of us, that's something that we all struggle with. Like, how am I going to be productive? How can I get my work done? Like just saying, I have a little one. How do we get around that? And the way you get around that is, number one, put it on your calendar. All right. If you want to make this your full-time job, if you want to live on this full-time, if you want to make this something that is, even if it's a side hustle and you want it to be something that brings in, let's say, $500 per month, right? You want to be able to be organized. So have a calendar. I have a calendar, which I don't think is around me right now, but I have a calendar where I put my work. So as long as I put that work on the calendar, and I've learned it about myself that if I don't put that work on the calendar, it doesn't get done. Unfortunately, it does not get done. So put it on the calendar so that you know it exists and so that you know to get it done that day. Number two is that you have to set up a time to work. Set up working hours. Every business, every successful business has working hours. The bank you use has working hours. The shops you go to have working hours. You know, businesses have working hours. You have a business, set your working hours. Sometimes what that working hour looks like is like 7 to 9 at night for you, or maybe from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m., or maybe because that's the only time you have during the day to work. Maybe it's going to require you waking up a little early. So you go to work at 8 o'clock. Okay, wake up at 5:30 and get work done between 5:30 and 7:30. So I would say that create a goal for yourself. You can create a goal for yourself to work maybe 1 or 2 hours every day and set a specific time to do that work. And then when you set that specific time, please stick to it, because this is how that thing is going to work. And when you sit down, look at your calendar and say, okay, what do I have to do today? And then do that thing. Do that thing in that time. One of the tools that helps me personally be productive, I have this Google Chrome extension, that is called it's called Forest, and it's called it's called Forest. And so basically what Forest allows me to do is that I turn it on, and it just gives me, it says, okay, we're going to plant a tree. It allows me to plant a tree. So I can choose 45 minutes, 60 minutes. So I turn it on. And whilst Forest is on, when I give myself, let's say 60 minutes to work, while Forest is on, I cannot navigate to Facebook. I cannot navigate to Twitter. I cannot navigate to any of the social media channels that keep us distracted. All right. Plus, it acts as a timer. So during this time, every time I try to go to some other website that is not my work, Forest pops up a message and says, pay attention, you're working, and actually blacks out the screen on Facebook and Twitter and any other social media channel. So this, and YouTube. So this is really helpful to me, because the moment I'm working and maybe I get tempted to go somewhere, I go and immediately it blacks out and it's like, your tree is not grown yet. Do you want to kill your tree? I'm like, no, I don't want to kill my tree. I want to work. And so I get back to work. So for me, Forest is such a great tool. It's a Chrome extension. So if you have Google Chrome, you can install it on your Chrome and then use that. So that's what I use. So when I sit down, I work. Set a timer. Another tool that I used to use is a tool known as Egg Timer. I think it has this weird it's URL, but you may want to go just to Google and type in Egg Timer. And when you type in Egg Timer, it should come up and you should be able to use it, to work. And it's a similar concept. That one doesn't block out the websites. That one just gives you like a timer so that you can work during that time. All right. So don't give yourself excuses during this time. You want to make sure that if you're working, you're working. And then when you're done, when my timer goes off, I give myself a break, because we're human beings. We can't be workaholics all the time. And I understand that there is this whole movement of hustle, and break your neck to be successful. And I see where some of that comes from, and I see how that can be helpful. But the reality is that that's not feasible for every single one of us, right? It's not feasible for every single one of us, especially when you have responsibilities that are outside of your business. You have a lot of responsibilities that are outside of your business. I believe in hustle, I do, but I think sometimes you also have to realize, you're a human being, and for instance, when you have kids, your kids are not going to be around all the time. Like I remember when I was growing up in Ghana and going to school with my parents and all that, and by the time I was 18, by the time I was 20, I had moved out of my parents' house, and that was it. Actually I moved out probably because I started boarding school when I was 15 years old, and so that was probably the primer of it. I went off to boarding school came back when I was 18, lived at home for a year, went to college, then moved by the time I was 20 away from my parents to the US. And so, they only had me for that short while. And so our kids, we only had them for a short while. And, to like spend all your waking hours working and not paying attention to them. I think that I'm not preaching here. I hope that this is not, but I think that there's some things that are more important than always hustling. And so, also take a break. So once you're done with the work, take a break. Go find something else to do. Go be a mom, go be a wife, go be a husband, go do those things that are also important for your life. But yeah, put it on the calendar, set time to do it. And then when you sit down to work. Don't go on Facebook. Don't go anywhere to go check nothing. Don't go watch funny videos. Don't go watch trending videos. Just get the work done. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this live video. If you watch this on the replay, make sure to leave me a comment below that says hashtag replay viewer and say hello. And let me know, Alan, if I answered your question. All right. You guys have a great month. Have a beautiful Thursday.